Kim and welcome to The Resourceful Life. Today I'm going to show you how to make a cornucopia out of puff pastry. It's a really neat thing that you can put on your buffet during Thanksgiving. You can fill it with like little ham sandwiches, fruits and nuts. I happen to be using it for sweet potato biscuits, and so I'm going to show you how to put it together. Okay, your first step is to make a bunch of these little aluminum balls. So you just tear off about a 12-inch piece of aluminum and then roll them up into this. You're going to need anywhere between 12 and 15 of these. The next thing you're going to want to do is measure out a larger piece of aluminum. This table's 24 inches, so I'm going to assume this is about 30 inches. And then this is what's going to form our cornucopia. So just place all of your little aluminum balls here into the middle. Now you want to try to make it as tall as possible. So we're going to start with the folding up this side, and we're going to start with the tail. So just kind of mold how you want the tail to look. And with your little balls, you probably won't need more than one down there at the very, very end. And I want this to be fairly tall, so I am trying to shove most of them down in there so they stand up on top of each other. I'm actually going to use 2 more. And then you fold in the end. Now remember, because we're putting things inside of this, we want it to be fairly tall. So I'm giving myself a fairly decent size cornucopia here. And if you need to, just wad up some more aluminum foil and shove it in there. And then the next thing we're going to do is place the pastry over top of it. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do is we're going to take our puff pastry, put it on a lightly floured surface, and then just roll it out so it's long enough and wide enough to fit your form that we did previously. So we just roll it out. And then you place your form on top of it and you see if it's going to fit. And this one looks like I've got enough on each side. So then the next thing we'll do is we'll trace all the way around our form, leaving about 1 inch longer than the form itself, and then that's what the strips will stick to as the base of our cornucopia. So I'm going to go ahead and trace it out, and I'll catch you at the next step. What you want to do is take the bottom and put it on a lightly greased sheet here, and then we'll put our cornucopia on top of the bottom form, and you want to make sure that you spray that form with some Pam, so that way your strips won't stick to it. So we take our second sheet of puff pastry then and roll it out to the length that you think is going to make long enough strips to go over your form. And then after you've rolled out your puff pastry, you simply cut strips about 1 inch wide. And these will actually go over our form. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. The next thing we're going to do is after we've cut out our strips, our 1-inch strips, we're going to place them on our form. Now you want to make sure that you've sprayed the form with Pam to make sure that they don't stick. And you want to start at the very bottom and then work your way forward. So as you do, you place your strips starting at the bottom, and then you just make sure that you really work them into that bottom pastry that's down there in order for them to stick. And then you just work your way up, overlapping the previous strip that you laid down. And you just proceed like this all the way up. One of the things that I do, just to give you a little bit of hint, is I'll start with a longer strip and stick it to the bottom, work it around, and then just take a pair of scissors and cut off the extra, and then stick that back side down to the bottom. I'll see you after we get done doing the whole thing. I placed all of my strips onto my form, and the very last thing I did was make a braid out of some leftover strips that I had, and place it on the front. And as you can see, it doesn't go all the way to the front, and that's okay. I mean, just use however much you can of the pastry. The last thing you want to do is mix up 1 egg with 2 teaspoons of water, and we're going to brush the entire cornucopia with it. I also made a little leaf that I thought would look cute maybe on here, and in order to get it to stick better, I'm just going to brush it with some of this egg mixture and make sure it doesn't fall off, because I've placed them on there in the past, and because they didn't really have a good way of sticking, it just fell right off. So after I place that on there, I'm just going to take this egg mixture and coat the entire cornucopia. Now that we've brushed the entire cornucopia with the egg mixture, we're going to throw it in the oven at 425 for 10 minutes, and then we're going to reduce the temperature to 350 and bake it for about another 15 minutes until it becomes a really nice golden brown. Okay, I just took it out of the oven, and I think it turned out really nicely. You can see it a little bit here. It turned out a beautiful golden brown, and I'm really pleased with the way it turned out. So what we do now is we just let it cool down all of the way, and then we have to remove the foil. And the easiest way to do that is to take out all of these individual balls. This is of course after it's cooled all the way down, and then you can just crush the foil down gently and remove it, and it should come out fairly easily. Thank you so much for joining me on this. I wish you the best of luck, and have a good Thanksgiving.